My name is Graeme, and my role is Building Facilities Manager. That's not how I began. Back in the late 90s, I used to run a pub in Hackney, right next to the Hackney Empire. And a lot of the work crew from the Hackney Empire used to come into my bar against Roland Mundoon's best wishes. And so that's how I got to know a theatre connection. That contract came to an end. I think it was the end of 2002. And I'd been running pubs for quite some time. You live above pubs. I wanted a break. So I took a break. And actually, the Hackney Empire just closed for refurbishment. And unbeknown to me, I believe this place had just reopened. So a lot of the staff there had obviously come here because there was work available. And one chap in particular, a chap called Buttercup, who's immersed up in the grid with his name, was working. And I believe something had happened in the bar. The bar had reopened and they'd had a bar manager, and he had left. Obviously the building had only just opened. I think Panto was their first show after opening, and we were kind of in that gap. And from what I understand is that they were looking for someone to run the bar. They knew me, they gave me a call. I came down here to run the bar for 12 weeks. And so it was a short-term contract, which I did. And they asked me, they were going to advertise, and was I interested? I was like, it's a bit different to what I normally do. I applied for it, I got the job. And I ran the bar up until 2007, which was, I think, was such an amazing time. It was very different for me doing it. It was a different time. I then kind of evolved. A position came up, which I was interested in. It was theatre manager. I took that and applied for that and went through the kind of processes, and I was selected for that. And I did that for 3 years. And it kind of didn't work. I think that the theatre was evolving and the building was an aspect of that role. The front of house and bar was the other half of that role. And through discussions with kind of the management, it was deemed that maybe we kind of change it and create a building maintenance role. And we separate the building and the front of house because the production department dealt with a lot with the building. So then we took that slice off of them, and so we created this one building maintenance and facilities role, and then I moved into kind of that position. And many moons later, I'm still here. Well, I think the turning point was in 2005, where when I was running the bar, I met my now wife in the bar. And we, the following year, got married. And the following year, I think that somewhere around that period, we bought a house together, which was across the road. And then unexpectedly, a little addition joined us, which was our first child. Obviously my life really changed at that point. My wife had a great opportunity to go into a role which was going to be quite full on. And in umming and ahhing about how we move forward, at the time it was suitable and made more sense for me to stay within this facility. And as life progresses, that actually was the right decision for our family. And I think, it wouldn't have happened if I didn't like working here. I've loved every aspect of working here. It's a fantastic place to be in and be involved in. And then, we've had another child. We lived across the road. Our kids go to school locally. Since this has become our proper home. There's certainly many. Certainly the first big life was the biggest and the best I'd seen this building to be. And I didn't think that could ever be topped, but I was wrong. The harder they came. And that was just, in my memory of this theatre, there's never been anything such buzzing in this building, and I got to meet Jimmy Cliff as well, so that was a bonus. But yeah, I mean, there's been a multitude of shows I've seen, and I could probably spend hours mentioning some I probably can't remember. But yeah, The Harder They Come and The Big Life, and The Big Life obviously went to the West End and transferred there, and we went to the open night, which was a fantastic experience. But it's definitely The Harder They Come was the most vibrant in this building and the most craziest, and the feeling of that show was just phenomenal. Obviously, when The Big Life came back, it's different because there's different actors, there's different people behind it. It was still a great show. Personally, it's always hard to top the original. So it'll be interesting to see what this one brings. Obviously, Matthew Excalibur is behind this one. So he was around before. I don't know what his involvement was before, but I think he's a lot more dealing with this one. So I'm certainly looking forward to it. Matthew Excalibur is an amazing person. I've known him a long time now, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's really interesting to see coming from the bar that is part of the theatre, and seeing the amount of people that come into the bar in its own right, thinking it's a bar and not knowing it's connected to the theatre, has always astounded me. Is that what can we do to merge those two together? And I know that from those times, it's a bit different now, but from those times, so many people came in and had no idea it was there, but actually did go in there eventually when they discovered it. And I think they were surprised. A lot of people today still the theatre's not part of them. And I have to admit, I was one of those. I went to the theatre probably a couple of times as a young kid, but I certainly didn't go on a regular basis. But it's a completely different thing, and it just amazes me still today. It's a cinema, and they can't distinguish the two. And I think you've got to try it out, because there might not be something for everyone, but at some point there will be something for you, and you've just got to keep watching it, because it's a totally different experience. And what's great about Stratford is its coziness. No matter where you sit in it, you're right on top of it. And the upper circle, in my opinion, are some of the best seats. They're very regal because they've now got high backs, which has completely changed that. But because of that, upper circle here is still really close to the stage. So just come and try it out, because it's there's some great stuff on this stage. I don't think I organised it. I was asked to run the bar. I'd been here for 6 months, and Ali Fellows worked here as well, and we were asked if we could host a bar at the wake. So it's somewhere in Hampstead, I believe. It's a bit hazy now, but obviously I'd only been at the theatre about 6 months, so I was still kind of learning the ropes and learning the ways of how theatre worked, which was very different to what I was used to. And to suddenly be thrust into this kind of, very sad situation, but seeing all these people I'd grown up watching on TV, walking down, and I was serving them their drinks as they kind of came in, was just one of the most surrealist experiences I've ever been in. That's I remember Blakey from On the Buses, who I'd absolutely loved that programme, but I think he's passed, unfortunately now. But he came in and he was just hilarious. And there was just so many characters from Doctor Who, many programmes that I'd grown up as a kid watching on the telly, and now they were here, looking slightly older, but I was serving them a beer or whatever they wanted, and it was just weird.